Welcome, what is up? Thank you for tuning back into the Chaos Slayer. Of course, I'm Chris Chaos, here with your SmackDown 411. SmackDown, or SD Live, if you will, after Mania. It's a good show. I was entertained. I'm always entertained by SmackDown, though. I can't state how much. I think still that it's got to be the 2 hours versus 3. But anyway, I think that debate will always go on which show is better. I am more thoroughly entertained by SmackDown. But anyway, we start off the show with Randy Orton promo gloating. Of course he should. He just won the WWE title at WrestleMania. He should come out and gloat. I beat his ass. That's what we're going to do. We're going to come out and talk about it, because when you go out and you beat somebody's ass at WrestleMania, that's what you do. Especially when you win the WWE title. Let's just be honest with you. Bray comes on, the big Tron. We end up getting because Bray, I get my rematch. Well, of course. So Bray challenges Randy to a House of Horrors match. Very interesting. Just wonder what this match is going to entail. I can't wait to find out. It gave, just the fact of them making the match without really talking about it is kind of a good little teaser, which I like leading into like next week and the next, whatever, until we get to the match, whenever it's going to happen. But I can't wait to see what they come up. I kind of hope they do it in like a haunted house, which would be pretty cool. It's just something different. That may be a little too gimmicky, but this is wrestling. Some things are meant to be really gimmicky, and others, not so much. So Randy challenges Bray to come out. Lights go out. Lights come back on. There's Bray. They brawl. Out comes the return of Eric Rowan in a new mask, which it looked really weird, like a kind of like it looked more like a ram instead of a sheep, but like with bigger horn. I'll have to go back and look at it. I didn't spend too much time focusing on the actual mask, but I thought it was really cool that he's got a different mask now. And then Luke Harper comes out and makes a save. Of course, everybody sees where this is going. Tag team match for later on in the night. So then we get the women's title rematch, which I noted on Twitter that I thought was going to happen, and then like right after I tweeted that out and said, yeah, I feel like this is going to be a good time to just go ahead and let's have a rematch. Yeah, they had just announced it, apparently, probably right before I even tweeted it, but I saw it and then reacted to it. And Naomi over Alexa Bliss, they had a good match, just a really good showcase of what both of these girls can do, and I always am going to be overcritical and over complimentary when the women have, especially title matches. And you know what? These girls, they did what they needed to do. They went out there and they had a great match, great title match, and they were Alexa worked the leg, Naomi sold the leg really good, and then I'm glad she didn't do that springboard moonsault, or split-legged moonsault, because I think that would have killed the heat that Alexa got on the. Well, it wouldn't have killed the heat, but it would. She shouldn't hit that move after your leg's been wrenched and pulled and everything. It's just not good psychology. So I'm glad that didn't happen. And then she goes into that. I forget what the name of that is. That submission that she's using, kind of like basically a modified Rings of Saturn, if you want to go that route with it. The next segment is something that's, I loved it, but I'm still skeptical and I'm still afraid about what's going to happen going forward. Kurt Hawkins comes out, which he tries to cut a mic spill, gets interrupted. He says he has an open challenge. Ty Dillinger debuts. Perfect 10. I love it. But back to what I was saying over the weekend. With him constantly losing these big matches and he never got that big win before he debuted on the main roster. I just kind of, I don't really understand it too much, but I like that he's finally on the main roster because he has been grinding for a long time, and he deserves to be on the main roster. I just felt like he deserved to get a big money win, if you will, on NXT at a takeover before he debuted on the main roster. So anyway, and he gets the win over Kurt tonight. Mojo promo. The crowd, they just can't decide whether they want to cheer him or boo him. And this is still one of the crowds, it's a WrestleMania crowd still. And they didn't go as crazy tonight as they did. Not even close to as crazy tonight as they did last night. So I kind of feel like they dropped the ball a little bit. I was kind of expecting more out of them. But, what it is. And, maybe it was kind of a different crowd. Maybe most of the people coming in had already left and they didn't want to stay for SmackDown. So maybe this is still kind of a little bit of that, of the same people, but not. So we're going to go back to regular, I'm sure, with the shows next week. The Miz and Maurice come out and they're dressed as Cena and Nikki. That look, I can't put Miz over enough for how great of storytelling and just comedic spots and promo work that he's been doing. And the match at WrestleMania speaks for itself. I mean, it was just phenomenal. His part of it anyway. And it was going great. And I thought, this is where they're going to do something to Cena and Nikki to take them out of the story, take them off TV for a couple of months while Nikki rehabs her neck and kind of chills out a little bit, while John goes off and does his American Hero or True Grit, whatever show that he does, and they can revisit this, maybe going into SummerSlam. But that didn't happen. Nakamura debuts. I was very vocal on Twitter about my disapproval of how it went down. Because I don't think... It would have been one thing if Nakamura comes out, him and The Miz have a spat, and The Miz does his thing and he walks out. But Nakamura gets in the ring, he looks right at The Miz, and they bolt. And I thought, that's just... And I overreacted a little bit on Twitter, and I want to retract that, and I'll have to do this again in the morning, I'm sure, on a certain radio, on a certain person's morning show in the morning. I'm sure I will have to go on and defend myself, and if you followed me on Twitter during the show, I got a little bit of backlash. I saw a tweet from Taz, who I am still a huge fan of and follow his show every day. And everybody that doesn't watch or listen to his show should go do that, TazShow.com. He said it was perfect. And I said, dude, I disagree. I said, you're cutting the balls off Miz. And which was an overstatement. An overreaction, I will give it that. But I still don't think it was perfect. That being my point. Yes, I overreacted with it, but I still don't like the way it went down. And even on Talking Smack, I thought, well, maybe The Miz will come on and say something. Nothing. I thought they dropped the ball there. I thought WWE completely dropped the ball there. They should have had The Miz come on. The dude has pretty much owned Talking Smack since its inception. I mean, there is nobody, no superstar that has come on and done more for Talking Smack and for themselves than The Miz has, and I thought that they dropped the ball there. But I'm sure we'll get into that later. Baron Corbin versus Dean Ambrose street fight, non-title. It was a really decent match. I was entertained. It was, it looks like they may be setting up for a strap match down the road, which I am completely for, by the way, for the Intercontinental title. But there was what I thought was a horrible finish, and I still think it was a horrible finish. Dean elbows Corbin through a table on the outside, and then not even a minute later, it felt like, Corbin hits the end of days, and 1, 2, 3. I don't like if he was gonna win that quick, it needed to be something quick, like a roll up or off of a Miz goes in the turnbuckle, bam, oh, roll up 1, 2, 3, real quick. Not something where you really put the guy over by using his finisher, unless his finisher is really quick, and at the end of the day, it's not really quick. It kind of has to be set up. But again, that's just my opinion on it. I happen to think that my opinion holds a lot of weight here in this instance, because being that I am a former wrestler and being that I have been in the ring and set up matches and set up a lot of finishes and, had to put a lot of guys over, which I was happy to do, and I still say I did a really fantastic job of when I was able, that it was just bad psychology. There wasn't enough sell time before the finish. That's, to me, is why it was bad psychology. After that, Shane comes out and starts talking about the shakeup that's going to happen, which we still really don't know what's going to happen. Although we got a little bit of clarity on it, with Shane saying that it was going to be, there's negotiations and whatever. Somebody sent me a thing that I read today. I can't remember what site it was on, that said that that they're, all the champions are going to stay, and what it is, it's going to be kind of just like a trade, basically. So Raw's going to get one, SmackDown's going to get one. Raw's going to get two, SmackDown's going to get two. Names that I'm hearing thrown out is AJ Styles and Sami Zayn. The Ascension, I heard a couple of days ago, before this was ever announced. Somebody was just talking about it, thinking that was their opinion, and I can't remember who it was, but which I think would be really good. I think the Ascension would do really good on Raw, because they might actually be able to get a spot. I think there's too many tag teams on SmackDown, but SmackDown being only 2 hours, it's hard to focus on everything. And I also think that I heard somebody say something on Twitter today about the Cruiserweight division, maybe that they'll finally go to SmackDown, and I disagree. I think they're in a good spot on Raw. It's still the flagship show, and they have more time that they can go in with the Cruiserweights. So I still think that they deserve to be on Raw and not on SmackDown, where you don't have 3 hours to try to find a spot for them. And if you did, and they went to SmackDown, you would have to do something real quick, and you wouldn't be able to develop a good story like they have on Raw. Think of the WrestleMania storyline with Neville and Austin Aries going into the big show, thinking that they were able to have time to be able to tell the story, with the help of 205 Live, but even on a bigger stage, because let's be honest, I'm sure that a lot of people don't watch 205 Live, and they just follow the Cruiserweights because it's on Raw, and whatever's on Raw, that's all that they see about it. So they have time to give them that. But anyway, and 205 Live was really fantastic. I can't try to sell it to you enough. I mean, the Fatal 4-Way was amazing. Only Lorcan debuted tonight on 205 Live from NXT. 205 Live, his match with Only Lorcan and Rich Swann, fantastic. If you get an hour, go check it out. It was really a good show. Back to the Shane promo. AJ Styles comes out, and basically they show a sign of respect to each other. They shake their hands. AJ flinches like he's gonna go, and he goes, nah. But Shane, he jumps like he's ready. AJ spreads his arms, crowd pops, music hits, and he's out. Which I thought was really, really a good spot. The Wyatt family, which is now Bray and Eric Rowan versus Randy Orton and Luke Harper. This is kind of have a weird feeling. Weird only because of Luke being with Randy. That's just an odd pairing. But anyway, Randy gets the win here, which he should. It's right. He's the champion, and he deserves it. So there it is. So that's all I've got. be on the lookout for the Wrestling with Chaos podcast. Hopefully coming tomorrow on Wednesday. If not, it will most definitely be on Thursday. Keep a look on my Twitter page at The Answer Chaos, and I will let everybody know when that is going to drop. For now, deuces, as always, because that's the way I do things, and Chaos is out.